An accident caused my father to lose his ability to have children, so my parents adopted me. My mother often laughed and said that my father and I were destined to be together. From personality interests to appearance, we were exactly alike. It was as if we were destined to be father and daughter. I completely agreed with that. Until my 18th birthday, my father held hands with a beautiful woman and came to see me. She said that she was his first love and also my biological mother. After hearing those words, I was speechless. My throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton, so choked that I couldn't speak. I tried to speak several times, but couldn't get the words out. She is my father's first love, my biological mother, so what about me? What is my relationship with my father? I raised my head. My father was hugging her shoulders, comforting her while she sobbed. His eyes were so gentle that I had never seen eyes like that before. No, my mother has never seen it. After all, in the 30 years of marriage, the best thing between my father and mother is mutual respect. Nim ka. My father looked at me and frowned slightly. Your mother's health is not good. Don't make her sad. Your mother is not very well. The rebuttal came out instinctively. Only then did I realize that my whole body was trembling. It was really too absurd. It turned out that what I was always proud of was the harmony between my father and I. The close father-son relationship was because I was blinded and deceived myself. Niem ka, your parents didn't intentionally hide it from you. I've missed you all these years. You're my real mother. The woman burst into tears again. Her face looked like she had spent a lot of money on maintenance, not a single wrinkle. She was crying like rain at this moment, looking extremely pitiful. Even the sound of her cry was soft and melodious, as if it had been carefully edited. But I just felt disgusted. The image of my mother suddenly appeared in my mind. My mother had never worn elaborate makeup, and the corners of her eyes and eyebrows were marked by time. My mother dressed simply, just wanting to be comfortable and neat. My mother always smiled, and no matter how difficult or arduous she encountered, she never shed a tear. My mother once told Nien Ka that when you encounter problems in your life, you have to face them. You cannot avoid them. Being angry or crying is useless. You have to look straight and solve them, then your life will be smooth. But my mother also said if you encounter difficulties, you must come to me. Don't bear it all by yourself. My mother will always be your strongest support. With me, you can freely express your emotions. It's okay, because you are my treasure. My mother is the most wonderful mother in the world. I will always be her daughter, forever. The next second, my father's voice pulled me back to reality. Ninka, whether you accept it or not, this is the truth. Dad looked at her, the person named Chu Ka, with gentle eyes, but the words that came out were like a sharp knife stabbing straight into my heart. Dad was over 50 years old. The first half of his life he had lived blindly like a puppet, being pulled by strings. Only now had his mother and son awakened him. At this age, he had everything. What he wanted most was a family reunion. Later, his parents would make up for everything he lacked in terms of mother-child love. What about his mother? I couldn't hold back anymore. Tears flowed like rain. Looking at the man in front of me, I felt only strangeness and laughter. Dad was happy. What about his mother's 30 years? Dad had a family reunion. Who would return the reunion to his mother and son? The conversation ended in tension, or should I say, I unilaterally refused to continue. Chukar cried and grabbed my hand, but I pushed her away, causing her to fall to the ground, her white hand scratched. Dad hurriedly hugged her, intending to take her to the hospital. I coldly sneered. Hurry up and go. If you don't go, your wound won't heal. At that time, who will see the love that moves the heavens and the earth between you two? He didn't even have time to say a rebuttal. Just because of that little strength, his whole body was in a panic. But what about before Dad once complained that the light in the study was too bright? Mum climbed up to change the light bulb herself. Dad didn't even bother to support the ladder. The ladder was loose. Mum fell injured. Her spine had to stay in the hospital for half a month. Dad only came once. I was dissatisfied on my mother's behalf. She just smiled and said, "Your father is busy working to earn money to support the whole family. You have to understand him. But I know clearly every time I see the husbands of the uncles and aunts in the next bed taking care of their wives, my mother's eyes always show admiration. Even if it's just a glimpse, it can't escape my eyes." When I got home, I saw my mother trying on clothes. It was the new dress I gave her a few days ago. The long black dress, elegant and graceful, really suits her. So beautiful. I gave her a thumbs up in praise. My mother pursed her lips and smiled softly, letting her call my father. Today is my family's Nyengha's birthday. No matter how busy I am, I can't miss it. I quickly walked over, took the phone from my mother's hand, hugged her arm, and acted spoiled. "Mum, tonight is my birthday. I just want you to be with me. Dad is always cold. I don't want to see him." Mum was stunned for a moment, but then didn't say anything more, nodding in agreement with me. We went to a Western restaurant together. Mum looked at the menu a few times and then ordered a well-done steak. The waiter was a little embarrassed. "Mum, our beef is of high quality. If it's cooked all the way through, it will lose its original deliciousness and will not be as tender and sweet. I recommend medium rare." I was about to protest. Mum raised her hand to signal me not to speak. Then she turned to smile at the waiter. "I want to do well done. Deliciousness and taste are different for everyone. Please don't impose your preferences on others. Thank you." After the waiter left, Mum looked at me. "Nian Ke, you're an adult now. You'll meet many different types of people in the future. Remember, don't let yourself be trapped in other people's thoughts. You have to live for yourself." I nodded, but suddenly my eyes stung and my nose felt stuffy. "What about you? Mum, have you ever lived for yourself in your entire life?" When he got home, Dad was sitting on the sofa. His complexion was not good when he saw Mum. He frowned even more. "Lu Jue, why are you suddenly wearing a skirt? You don't have a waist, your skin isn't fair. Wearing a skirt will only show off your body's flaws. Change to pants." Just by touching your upper lip to your lower lip, he was able to say such heartbreaking words. Mum was changing her shoes. Her movements paused, her eyes calmly looking at him. Before Mum could say anything, I shouted loudly, "Do you want to hear what you just said? General Manager Lam, your behaviour is called flirting among young people. Do you really not want to stand for Mum and me to be a little prettier?" Dad opened his lips, slightly stuttering for a long time without being able to say anything. His face was filled with disbelief. He probably couldn't understand why I could stand by Mum so firmly, because in his eyes, Chuka is beautiful, gentle, and my biological mother. He has a successful career, money, looks, and ability. He believes that he and she are much better than my mother. But is that really true? They really have a lot of things but lack something called conscience. As for my mother, she gives me 100% love, 100% respect, 100% understanding. In my heart, no one in this world can surpass my mother, and no one can replace her. Even though I am not her biological daughter. At night I begged my mother to sleep with me. The night was long. My mother and I lay opposite each other on the bed. Neither of us said a word, only hearing each other's light breathing. After a long time, my mother suddenly spoke, her voice very soft. "When I was 20 years old, there was a big earthquake in Haiti and your father saved me." I was stunned. My mother never told me about the old story between them. Since I have memories, the person who has been by my side the most is my mother. She has never been absent during my growing up, always trying to learn. How to become a good mother. Although I am not my mother's biological daughter, my father loves me very much, but that love is very superficial. Giving him money is the easiest, least troublesome way to express his love. At that time, my mother was very scared, very scared. In the dark, all feelings were amplified. My mother could not see anything, only heard people running back and forth on the pile of rubble above. My mother wanted to call for help, but could not utter a sound. My mother told this story, paused for a moment. She thought she was about to die. At that moment, someone started desperately digging through the rubble on my mother's body. That person was afraid that my mother would be scared, and also afraid that my mother would be exhausted. So while digging, he kept talking to my mother. "It's your father." I said, "Yes, it's your father." After that, Mum and Dad got married, Mum wanted to repay her, and Dad needed a wife. But because he saved Mum, Dad was hit by a falling iron bar, seriously injured, and there was a long silence. At that moment, I suddenly felt that I didn't really understand Mum. I used to think Mum was strong, resilient, and fearless. It turned out Mum was also afraid. Hearing me say that, Mum chuckled. Mum used to be very weak, but since having me and Niamkar, she was no longer afraid of anything. I silently shed tears. "But, Mum, I'm not your biological daughter. Dad didn't lose his ability to have children because he saved Mum. He had an affair and even brought his illegitimate child back to make Mum raise it. Even the name Niamkar was intentionally stabbed in her heart. But just such a clumsy lie, Mum believed it for 30 years. My pillow was soaked with tears. I turned around, not daring to make a sound, afraid that Mum would notice something unusual. After a long time, I finally calmed down and softly said, "Mum, I don't like the name Niamkar. From now on, please call me Tui." Mum was silent for 2 seconds before gently replying, "Okay, Tui." The falling snow turned into water. I closed my eyes and let the tears roll down. Many times I wanted to tell the truth, but in the end, I swallowed them back down. I didn't dare to think how heartbroken my mother would be if one day she found out about Chukar's existence. Even more so, I didn't dare to think what would she do if she knew that I was the illegitimate child between my father and Chukar. After I clearly expressed my hatred for Chukar, my father still refused to give up. He often brought her to find me, sometimes to school, sometimes to the mall, even choosing a restaurant, solemnly wanting to sit down and talk. Of course, every time it ended with me cursing like a bucket of water and Chukar crying and begging me for forgiveness. This happened over and over again, making me extremely annoyed. But I had underestimated my father's shamelessness. He brought Chukar home. I heard the doorbell ring, and as soon as I opened it, I saw a familiar scene. Chukar carried a few bags, all branded handbags and high-end cosmetics. When he saw me, he smiled ingratiatingly. "Niamkar, Mum really misses you. Can you let Mum in to talk for a bit?" I took a deep breath, feeling only lucky. 10 minutes ago, Mum had just left the house. She went to the south of the city to visit Grandma and would be back in a few hours at least, so it was just right that I didn't have to face these two hateful people. I had 3 things I blocked the door, not hiding my disgust. First, my name is not Niamkar. This name sounds disgusting, just hearing it makes me nauseous. Please don't call me again in the future. Oh, and with thick skin like yours, I guess I'll say it's useless. Second, does this old lady need me to show her her household registration? My mother's name is Lu Shui. She's used to being a mistress. Not only is it not enough to steal someone's husband, she also wants to steal their child. This is a disease that needs to be cured. Chukar cried again. She really knows how to cry. I was furious. Cry, cry, cry. What are you crying about? If you're so good, go out and cry. You're crying here. All my family's luck has been blown away by your crying. As soon as he finished speaking, my father immediately became angry and slapped me straight in the face. His hand was very strong. Half of my cheek was burning hot. The corner of my lips bled and it hurt as if it was torn. Lam Niamkar, is that how your mother usually teaches you? No upper or lower. Every time you open your mouth, you speak harsh words. Is this how you talk to your biological mother? I laughed coldly. My father said it too. The mother in this house is my mother. She is just a third party. Why should I be polite to her? My father was trembling with anger, raising his hand to hit her again, but was pulled back by Chukar, crying, "Brother, don't blame her. It's my fault. It's my fault. For so many years I haven't visited her." I nodded. That's right, it's her fault. Not just her fault. The two of you are truly a pair of scum. A match made in heaven. If you like, go sell weapons to destroy the world. Why do you have to come back and ruin my mother's life? What did my mother do to deserve this? Chukar sobbed. Niem Ka, but you are my biological mother. I am your and my father's daughter. Luke Tuyet is not related to me by blood. I was about to scold her when the door behind me suddenly creaked. Hearing the sound of the door opening, I stiffened and turned around. The moment I saw my mother, my face turned pale. My mother was home, she heard everything. I really don't know what words to use to describe my feelings at that moment. Shocked, scared, confused, everything was like a whirlwind swirling in my chest, finally turning into a choking shame. If I hadn't selfishly said it all a little earlier, then my mother wouldn't have had to endure all of this passively. The word mother rolled over and over on the tip of my tongue, stuck in my throat, unable to form a sound. I stood there frozen as if my legs were filled with lead and could only stare blankly at my mother. Her face was still very calm, without the hysteria that Chukar had imagined, as if she had known everything all along. Go into the house and speak, Mother spoke gently, turning back to the living room. My father had a confused expression, awkwardly rubbing his hands. After a moment, he regained his arrogant and moral demeanor, holding Chukar's hand, and walking into the house sitting down opposite my mother, like a person holding a stick. Lu Tuit, now that you know everything, I won't hide it anymore. Kaka is my first love, the person I love the most in my life. I gave you the title of Mrs. Lamb, but my love from beginning to end was only for Kaka. My father called out the word Kaka with deep affection. Passionately hearing it made me want to vomit quickly, turning away so I wouldn't have to see his expression. My mother still didn't have any clear reaction, just smiled lightly like a breeze. Chukar spoke softly. Sister Luke Tuyet, don't blame Brother Lam for being too straightforward. Actually, from beginning to end, he never had you in his heart. If it weren't for the delay in the information that year, he thought I was dead, and the marriage with you wouldn't have happened at all. In the end, it was my fault. Oh, that's not right. It should be Lu Shui. Brother Lin said you're 2 years younger than me. Sorry, little sister. When I met you, I forgot all about our seniority. She smiled very gently, but every word she said was full of provocation. I burst out laughing out of anger. Oh my God, love is so great. Thinking that my lover was dead, I just randomly married another girl to ruin her whole life. General Manager Lin, my father is truly a beast among humans, a piece of trash that's not even in combat. My father's face was as green as a leaf. Lin Nian Ke, what nonsense are you talking about? How could you get angry after being hit in the heart? General Manager Lin, he was already wrong, and now I exposed him completely. Now he only has one emotion left, anger to the point of losing his mind. Chukar hurriedly patted his back to calm him down, his eyes filled with hurt as he looked at me. Niem Ka, your father, stop me from interrupting. How many times have I told you my name is not Niem Ka? Being a mistress for too long, your mind has degenerated and your ears are deaf, Chukar cried again. Her eyes were like a faucet ready to turn on the flood discharge mode at any time. Niem Ka, but I am your biological mother. Blood ties are deep. How could you hurt your biological parents over and over again for an outsider? She looked at my mother, her eyes filled with reproach. Sister Luke Toot, all these years you have enjoyed so many things that originally belonged to me in the name of Mrs. Lamb. I don't hold anything against you, but Niemka is my child. Why did you teach him to oppose me? My father hugged her, frowning with sorrow. Kaka, don't be sad. Your health is not good. The doctor said not to get agitated. This girl was just spoiled by Lu Shui. We will teach her again and she will understand. To be honest, I really can't understand how a person can be so shameless. All these years, what has my mother enjoyed? She enjoyed all the housework. She enjoyed the coldness and cruelty from my father. Chuki's sobbing and my father's coaxing words kept ringing. This tragic love drama, like the movie Quinjiao, finally ended neatly with one sentence from my mother. My mother still kept her cold expression, only slightly raising her eyes to look straight at my father, slowly asking, Lin Xiangming, when are you free? Let's go do the divorce procedures. Boy. My father's coaxing voice immediately stopped mid-sentence. He even unconsciously let go of Chu Kei. Lu Wei, what did you just say? My mother was still calm. Let's get a divorce. You want to divorce me? My father's face was filled with disbelief. Lu Shui, do you know what you're saying? We have been married for 30 years now. You say, divorce is divorce. What do you think I am? No way. My mother smiled slightly, her smile full of mockery. We have been married for 30 years, lived in separate rooms for 30 years, and have never been intimate once. To be honest, if it weren't for that marriage certificate, you and I would be no different from roommates. Moreover, the person you love the most in the world has returned. Wouldn't it be too reasonable for me to divorce and make room for her? Or Lin Xiangming, you don't want a divorce, but you don't want to marry her. You only like the type of person who doesn't fall in love with a nominal wife at home, but who is a showy concubine outside. Ah, my father froze his eyes, fixed on my mother, his face gradually turning pale with anger. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't want a divorce, living under the same roof with you every day. I feel sick to my stomach. That's good. My mother nodded. After completing the formalities, he could end this disgusting life. The two stood facing each other, neither willing to give in even a step. Chukar kept rolling his eyes, biting his lip, and gently pulling the hem of his father's shirt. Brother, actually what Lu Shui said was right. The two of them no longer had feelings for each other. Divorce was the right thing to do. Then he turned to my mother and chuckled. Lu Shui brother Lam was just angry for a moment. Don't worry, he will do the paperwork with you. I think tomorrow is a good day, so I might as well go tomorrow. Chukar arbitrarily set a date and time for the divorce on my father's behalf, but he coldly sneered at her. There's no way I'll agree to a divorce. Even if it's a divorce, I'll be the one to take the initiative. Lu Shui, you have no right to abandon me. Chukar's face immediately turned pale. She forced a smile. Brother, don't be so impatient. My father shook his head vigorously. You're too soft-hearted. You don't understand the relationship between me and Lu Shui. Even though there's no feelings between us, divorce can't be done just by saying it. Let's go. Chukar was stunned with a stiff smile on her face. She was dragged out of the house by my father, her expression extremely ugly. My mother still sat there waiting for the two of them to get close to the door before softly saying, Lin Xiangming, I just want to ask you one last question. My father paused. 30 years ago in that earthquake was the person you risked your life to save me. Oh, brother, haven't you told me Lu Shui? Chukar didn't let him answer before she exclaimed happily, turning to my mother excitedly. Sister Lu Shui, so you two got married because of that? I thought Brother Lin was so moved by saving you that he fell in love. Actually, it was because he heard that I was in Haithi, couldn't find you, and heard your voice. And mine were a bit similar, so he mistook you for someone else. He was really funny. He thought I was in trouble when he couldn't find you, so he randomly chose a girl to marry. Sorry, Sister Lu Shui. I'll apologize on behalf of Brother Lin. But at that time, Brother Lin only picked up a few bricks and realized that you weren't me. After that, he left. I don't know who saved you. Did you find Brother Lin so handsome that you wanted to marry him no matter what? My father had been silent all this time, listening, came here, and immediately darkened his face. Ka, don't talk to her anymore. Chukar acted innocent and adorable and stuck out her tongue. I'm sorry, Lu Tuet. I often speak from the heart. Don't be angry. My mother nodded slightly. I know, but as soon as they turned around and walked away, my mother's eyes were red. I had never seen my mother cry. In my memory, my mother was always gentle, always keeping a calm smile. But now, in the large living room, there was only the sound of tears blooming and being suppressed by my mother. 30 years sincere feelings were given to the wrong person. Since I had memories, my father's indifference towards my mother for 18 years had never changed. This marriage from beginning to end was like a monologue, played by my mother alone. What kept her from continuing to act was my father's so-called life-saving grace in the past. But today, with just a few words from Chukar, that belief completely collapsed. For so many years, every day, my mother lived in torment. Mum's voice trembled. Mum kept thinking that because he saved her, your father was seriously injured and could no longer have children. Mum felt that she had ruined his entire life, so she had to take responsibility. He said he wanted to marry her, wanted her to use her entire life to repay him, and she believed him. But it turned out that the person who saved her was not him at all. Then what was her entire life? What was it? I was speechless. My eyes were red, and I silently handed Mum a tissue. Xiao Shui, Mum said, "Can you move away for a while? Go back to school first. Mum wants to sit alone." Before leaving, I softly said the sentence that had been in my heart for so many days. "Mum, I'm sorry. If there really was a God in this world, I would trade this ordinary life just so that you could go back 30 years, not be buried under the rubble, not meet Lam Hongmin, and even less adopt me." But the God did not grant my wish. The first half of my mother's life was truly misplaced. I didn't know where to go, so I just absent-mindedly returned to school. Because I liked to stay close to home, when I registered my wishes, I deliberately chose a university in the city. There was no one in the dormitory. I lay down on the bed tiredly and fell asleep without realizing it. When I woke up, my roommates had returned. "Xiao Shui, are you awake?" "That's right, since I found out about Zhou Kei's existence, I've told everyone not to call me Lin Nian Ke anymore." My friend spoke up and pointed at my desk. His mother came to school this afternoon, and his aunt brought him some things and left them on the desk. It was a thermos and a bag of cold milk. In the thermos was my favorite braised pork ribs, and in the bag were several frozen cold compress bags. Perhaps the iced milk had melted, so his mother added more ice around it. The iced milk had melted a bit, but the compress bag was still cool and sturdy. Next to it was a bottle of antiseptic alcohol, a cotton swab, and a note. Xiao Shui, a roommate, whispered, "Did you and your mother have a fight? Actually, your aunt really cares about you. She couldn't reach you, and when she found you, she told us not to wake you up if you were sleeping." The others also nodded in agreement. "That's right. It's not like I just hit you out of anger. I see a worried look on your face. Why don't you try calling your mother?" My nose was stinging. I tried not to cry. However, when I saw the words on the note, all my efforts were in vain. There was only one sentence on the note: "You will always be my most beloved daughter." My mother said she must get a divorce. However, after my father left home, he disappeared without a trace, as if he was deliberately avoiding my mother, not even coming to the company. After countless unsuccessful attempts to contact her, my mother decided to file for divorce. She had wasted 30 years on him. This marriage could no longer continue. "Chu Tui," my mother hesitantly asked me, "You are an adult now. If we get a divorce, do you have the freedom to choose who you want to live with?" "You want to live with me. You want to be my daughter." I didn't let her finish before quickly interrupting her. Mum was stunned. Tears slowly welled up in her eyes. "Mum!" I held her hand, my voice extremely determined. "I want to be your daughter forever." Dad refused to divorce because he had built an image of a loving husband on the outside, afraid that divorce would affect his reputation. But every time he and that woman came to find me, I secretly recorded videos audio and kept all the evidence. "I will work with you to get back what you deserve." Mum smiled as she listened to me, suddenly sighed and patted my head. "My precious baby is all grown up. He knows how to protect me. Having you is the greatest blessing in my life." My mother has hired a lawyer preparing to file for divorce. I heard that my mother's college friend is an extremely excellent divorce lawyer in the industry. The first time I met him, she was scolding my mother without mercy. "Lu Shui, you were our valedictorian in college. You are smart, excellent, and have a good family background. Do you know how jealous I was of you? I thought you would definitely become a top lawyer after graduation. Who would have thought that you would have developed a love sickness and become a free nanny for someone? 30 years have passed and now you want a divorce. Tell me, has your water-filled head been shaken yet? After being scolded like a torrential downpour, my mother did not refute, only smiled gently. I hurriedly explained, Auntie, actually my mother is not a goldfish-brained woman. Because of love, she was deceived by my father, that bastard of a man. After hearing the whole story, Aunt Chin was silent for a moment. But in just a moment, she suddenly roared like thunder. Lu Shui, are you really stupid? He said he saved you. Did you believe him? That year this girl asked someone to dig up the pile of bricks to get you out. Do you know how long I've been looking for you? I was afraid you would be shocked, so I gave you very careful instructions, telling the rescuer to definitely talk to you while digging. Then something urgent happened at home, so I had to go back to my hometown for a few days. When I returned, you were already preparing to marry someone else. Uncle Tan choked up. If only I had waited for you to wake up, would all of your future years have been different? Did I ruin your whole life? My mother was stunned, then tremblingly hugged her tightly. I'm sorry, I really don't know. What the hell are you apologizing for? Uncle Chin wiped his tears, sniffed and smiled faintly. That bastard deliberately deceived you, and you're just too kind. Come on, let's start. I'll help you gather enough evidence and sue that scumbag to death. My mother didn't try to hide the divorce, and just 3 days later my father stormed home in anger. Chu Ke didn't come along. Lu Shui, what the hell are you doing? He paced back and forth in the house, fuming. What benefit does divorce bring you? If you think you can use divorce to attract my attention, then I'll tell you, you've succeeded. Keiki is just my first love in my youth. I've been married to you for so many years. Do you think there's no love? Is it because we haven't been intimate in the past 30 years that you feel dissatisfied? As he spoke, he suddenly pounced on my mother and tore her shirt. Now I am satisfied with her right. My mother immediately pushed him away. A fierce slap landed on Lin Xiangming's face. Lin Xiangming, you're disgusting. Get lost. I don't want to see your face again. My father was about to argue back when the phone rang, and his expression immediately changed. It was Joe Kerr calling. Brother, what should we do? Yesterday we went for a walk and got photographed. The whole social network is calling me a fake mistress. Hoo. Joe Kerr also came to my house. In the photo that was circulating online, she was holding my father's arm. Her expression was charming and coquettish. I don't know what she said. My father turned his head and lightly kissed the corner of her lips. In recent years, my father's business has been quite favourable, and he is also considered a famous businessman in the city. Normally, he pays a lot of attention to his image, always acting like a righteous person, playing the role of a model husband, and pretending to be a good person. Doing charity work, most of all, buying cards. He flatters himself. He is quite disciplined. Even though he is middle-aged, he still maintains his figure. His face is also quite good, and his carefully built image of loving his wife has attracted millions of fans on social networks. But now the comment section below the post is exploding like a storm. Isn't that General Manager Lam? He pretends to love his wife all day, but behind her back he can't control it. It's really disgusting. He takes his main wife out to perform every day, but he supports a mistress outside. I know the aunt in the photo is my old neighbour. He's already indulgent. At a young age he moved away more than 10 years ago, but unexpectedly the reunion was on the hot search. My father held his phone and scrolled through each comment, his face sometimes pale, sometimes white, and Joe Key was in tears. Brother, say something. My mother and I glanced at each other, both of us burst into laughter in each other's eyes. Because those photos were posted by Joe Key himself. Right before my father walked in the door, my mother called her. The words he said, the sound of tearing clothes, the sound of forcing Chu Ka, heard them all. That's why she was so impatient that she immediately released the photos. My father always refused to sign the divorce papers. Actually, there were only two reasons. One, his social media accounts were growing rapidly. Divorce would ruin his whole image of loving his wife. Two, he still needed my mother's outside relationships, so he couldn't bear to let go. Dad, I raised my phone, my tone calm. Agree to divorce, otherwise I don't mind adding fuel to the fire. Every time the two of them came to find me, I had full video and audio recordings. Understand Lam Neem Ka, we are your biological parents. Mum took a step forward, blocking in front of me, calmly speaking. Lam Huang Min, after the divorce, the assets will be divided in half. The daughter will follow me. If you don't agree, I don't mind turning against you. Brother, divorce her. Chuka tried to hold back her excited, soft voice. Otherwise, we would both be cursed to death. My father agreed to divorce. He refused to sign the papers because he thought he could easily control my mother. He had not yet transferred the assets. When he wanted to take action, he discovered that my mother had filed a petition to the court to freeze the joint assets. The day they filed for divorce, the weather was bright and sunny. I was holding a bouquet of gypsophila flowers and waiting in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau, my heart filled with joy. Chuka also appeared. As soon as she saw me, she immediately rushed over crying. Ninka, you really don't know what you did wrong. Would you rather follow Lu Shui than forgive me? As soon as I saw her, I wanted to slap her, and I did. You dare to hit your own mother. I met Chuki's eyes and I smiled coldly. If you don't want Lin Xiangming to know who released those photos, you better shut up. Don't ever come to bother me and my mother again. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I will do. Mum walked out. She didn't even look at Chukek once. She just gently took the bouquet of flowers from me and sniffed it. Thank you, my precious. When we got in the car, Chukei's voice rang out from behind. Lam Nim Ka, you will regret it just because of an outsider. You rejected your biological mother. You will regret it for the rest of your life. I didn't even bother to turn around. Instead, I turned to look at my mother and acted spoiled. Mum, let's change our names tomorrow. I want to change to Luke Tui. I want to be your daughter forever. Mum looked at me for a long time, then nodded slightly. Okay, before the divorce, my father once said loudly, Lu Shui, you have been a housewife for 30 years. You are no different from a useless person. After leaving me, how will you live? Sometimes from morning to night, you only know how to cry and lament your fate. He thinks too much. In reality, my mother does not have a single free second to be sad. She rented a small piece of land, built a vocational training centre, only recruiting divorced women housewives who are looked down upon by their families. The tuition fee is very cheap, just enough to maintain the operation, not much profit. Mother said that those women have devoted everything to the family. The ending should not be so tragic. Mum has saved enough money for me. The rest to her is just a series of numbers if possible. Use it to help people do good deeds. Mum's school does not have any frivolous activities, only teaches practical living skills, training nannies to take care of children, instructing street vendors, teaching maid services, embroidery and sewing. Every week, Uncle Tan also spends a day at the centre to explain legal knowledge. I started making social media content, recording daily life at school. The school graduated batch after batch of students, each finding a way to support themselves. The money earned was not much, but enough to live a decent life. The smiles on my mother's face grew more and became more and more sincere and happy. Sometimes I still think about what would happen if my mother had not been tricked by Lam Huangmin to marry her that year. Maybe it would be like now, trying to help as many people as possible, shining brightly, sparkling like the sun. The year I graduated from university, a video on my social media account suddenly exploded. Media channels and PL accounts competed to share it. My mother's training school became the focus for many days. The official channel also praised it, saying that my mother had helped the greatest women in the world build a new sky. At that moment, Chukar appeared again. After the divorce, my father's business plummeted. From the beginning, his prosperity was due to my mother's family's connections, many large orders. Customers only placed orders because of the Liu family's reputation. My father was arrogant and complacent, had low EQ, and was not liked by many people. Now that he had lost his support, he had to divide half of his assets. The company's products were not outstanding, and in just a few years, the company had shrunk from thousands of employees to a few hundred. Now he was just struggling to breathe, holding on day by day. Chuka started her specialty again, crying and making up stories. Hello everyone, today I used my real name to denounce the famous TikToker Lu Shui. She incited her daughter to go against her biological parents and even took away my custody rights. People like to gossip. As soon as the video was posted, my mother was once again pushed to the forefront. Many netizens who didn't know the ins and outs started to speak maliciously, even making up and spreading rumors. Untrue. When I saw all this, Chuki's video had more than 1 million likes. I was furious and immediately posted a response video on my own account. Mrs. Chu, did you forget the warning I told you 4 years ago, immediately after I posted a long article telling the whole truth, including the reason why my parents got married, my background, and everything that happened after that? I posted all the old recordings and videos. Mom and Uncle Tan had just gone to see the new land for the centre's expansion, and when they came back, they saw my post. Mum was so angry that she almost cried. She didn't even shed tears after getting divorced, but now she couldn't stop wiping her tears. This silly girl, you've told me everything about your background. What if netizens attack you? You're only 22 years old, your life has just begun. I gently wiped away my tears for Mum, just like when I was a kid. Every time I fell flat on my face, Mum would squat down and gently wipe my tears. Tears for me. Mum, don't be afraid, netizens have eyes. Over the years they have been trying to bother us from time to time because they know that you love me and won't retaliate. But this time I want to protect you, just like you used to protect me, because you are the person I love the most in the world. Chuka certainly didn't expect that she would use her views to defame my mother, but in the end she was backfired by that popularity. Public opinion turned overnight, and many people who knew my mother began to comment. There were also quite a few people who knew the true faces of Chuka and Lam Hongmin. The only difference was that those who knew my mother all spoke up to defend and praise her, while those who knew the other two brought up a series of scandals that were many times more shocking. My father's company was also quickly investigated, and all sorts of violations were brought up, such as tax evasion, not signing contracts, and not paying social insurance for employees. The next time I heard about them was when Chuka went crazy on the street to fight for her husband. My father was hugging another woman when Chuka jumped on him and grabbed her hair. He impatiently pushed her away. Unfortunately, her head hit the edge of the sidewalk and she died on the spot. See, that's how their romance ended. Even though she was dead, she still didn't forget to help my father find another stable job. I indifferently pressed the ignore button on the post. At that moment, my mother's phone rang with a text message from Lam Hongmin. Luke Tuyet. I know I was wrong, so you are the masked woman. If I hadn't lied to you back then, would we have ended differently? I moved my finger quietly, deleting that message because there are no ifs in this world. Thank you for listening to the story at Ken Stories. I hope you have relaxing and fun moments. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe so I have more motivation to make more videos. Video produced by Ken Stories. Please do not re-up.